السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His guidance and His forgiveness. We seek protection from Allah from the evil of our own selves and our own bad actions. Because whenever Allah guides, no one can misguide. Whenever Allah leaves to go astray, no one can guide it correctly. I bear witness and testify that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah alone, without any partners, and that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was His servant and messenger. O mankind, fear your Lord who created you from a single soul, created from it its mate, created from them many men and many women, and created us of different nations and tribes that we may get to know one another. Indeed, the most noble in the sight of Allah are those who are the most conscious of Allah. Indeed, Allah is all-knowing, well-acquainted. O you who believe, fear Allah as He ought to be feared, and die down and accept and say the full submission to Him. O you believe, fear Allah and always speak the truth, that He may improve your affairs, may correct you, may forgive your sins, and whoever obeys Allah and His Messenger has surely already attained great success. And now that's what follows. A vision for our youth. To the young people out there, to the young people everywhere, I want you to know that it is nobody's right to tell you that you aren't capable just because you're young. That you don't know just because you're young. That you should always be polite and respectful, whether those who are older than you are polite or respectful towards you. Forgive them, smile, and move on. March on. But know that age should not be a hindrance. Age is but a number. We know that young people are capable of great things. Islamic history is full of it. Our tradition is full of it. And human history is full of it. The youth of the cave were youth. They were young. And it's a surah that many people have memorized, and almost all Muslims have read, and some read every week. The youth of the cave were possibly teenagers. They believed in Tawheed so strongly that they couldn't live in a society that didn't accept Tawheed, that was going astray. They left all the luxuries and the comforts to live outside the city in a cave. Again, a group of youth. It's hard to imagine. I'll do my best to paint a picture. There were no iPads and no PlayStations in that cave. Right? There was no Fortnite, there was no League of Legends, no Supreme, no Gucci, no Armani, no Yeezys. But they had Allah, and that was enough for them. The boy who stood up to the king and could not bear that the king was telling people to worship him or to worship besides Allah, and said that we will kill you if you believe. And they tried their best. They took him to the ocean. Allah saved him. Took him up a mountain. Allah saved him. And the boy told the king, if you want to kill me, you have to take an arrow. You have to shoot me with it. You have to say, in the name of the Lord of this boy. And he had to gather all the people. And the king did so, but it was clear to the people. The truth is truth. The truth was clear. And the boy was a shaheed. And both of these stories are mentioned in the Quran. This is Surah Al-Buruj. Many of us have memorized it. And both these stories happened before the Prophet Muhammad. These were a persecuted Christian minority. Just find that interesting. The Tawheed is Tawheed and truth is truth. Ali ibn Abi Talib, may Allah be pleased with him, was 10 years old when he told his uncles and his dad and the patriarchal structure, the leaders of the Arabs at his time, he said, I am with Muhammad whether you're with him or not. You're a boy. You're 10 years old. Just stay quiet. But he spent his whole life, decades upon this. So it wasn't just a few words. He fought alongside the Prophet, almost died for the Prophet, risked his life for the Prophet. He ended up being a judge and a leader. So it's a warrior, a judge, a khalifa. May Allah be pleased with him. One of the greatest role models in human history. One of the top companions of all time. And Allah is pleased with him. We hope that Allah can create amongst us and amongst the people like him. Sultan Muhammad al-Fatih was a teenager when he became the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire. When he led an army against Constantinople and conquered Constantinople, the Christians and Jews were celebrating, they were throwing flowers, and they were happy because they were under this unjust leadership. They were being taxed by their king or by their leader, completely neglected, taxed over and over until they had nothing. They were celebrating the Muslims who ruled them, and Islam brings a system of justice. Muhammad ibn Qasim was 15 when he led an army into India, and for hundreds of years, Muslims would coexist with the Hindus. But ibn Ziyad would lead an army to the Iberian Peninsula, that's to get today Spain and Portugal. And the Muslims would live hundreds of years with Christians and Jews in coexistence. In fact, Jewish historians say that at that time the Jewish leaders would write to Jews all around the world, and we all know that all throughout history, Jews were persecuted, it's a fact. And that there were small minorities, and always have been. So it was very important for them who was leading them. And mostly Christian leaders, right? Different Christian groups would fight, and the Jewish group would possibly be persecuted by all sides. But they said, come to the land of the Mohammedans, that's the Muslims. Come to the land of the Turks. Come to the land of the Muslims. Nobody's unjust, no one's treated unjustly. We're not burdened by heavy taxes, and rich are the fruits of the earth. That's history. We just don't study this in school. Muhammad Ali was 22 years old when he defeated the heavyweight champion at the time, Sonny Liston, who was this 35, 40-year-old guy who had a criminal record. He was a bully, he used to beat people up. Muhammad Ali knocked him out and made sure that the whole world saw it, and the whole world knew that he wasn't just a champion boxer, but he was a champion of Islam, and he said, I am Muslim and my name is Muhammad Ali. So there's historical examples and there's current modern examples, so what's our excuse? Malcolm X was 27, a personal hero of mine, and every Muslim, whether you know him or not, especially in America, but all around the world, we owe people like Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X to at least learn a little bit about their stories, because every Muslim, every masjid and every organization in this country at least, is falling under the umbrella and under them. They're the trailblazers. Again, study the history, it's beautiful. But Malcolm X was 27 when he came out of prison and started preaching in the streets. This is in America, and this is barely history, this is a few decades ago. In the streets of Detroit and Boston and Philly and Harlem, he told them, Jesus is not God. God is not a white man. You've been tricked. You've been had. You've been hoodwinked. You've been bamboozled. You've been deceived. He was 27. And just within the next few years, he led a group that became from being 500 people, they call themselves Black Muslims, from 500 to 100,000, with no internet and no social media. Of course, he was assassinated for this, and he was a shaheed. May Allah have mercy on him and his teachers. One of his teachers was Imam bin Muhammad. So an Imam is a scholar in that community. Malcolm X is an activist. He's a scholar. Many people don't know his name. I found out his name like in the last 2 years. But he spent decades studying and teaching Islam, mainly in the Black Muslim community. They grew to be about 1 million or more, now they're more. He was responsible for the greatest mass conversion in the history of the United States. It's 1 million black people, black Muslims. So imagine where they went and where they came from. And again, no internet, no social media. He taught them Tawheed, he taught them Wudu and Tahara, he taught them Salah, he taught them the basics of the deen. No internet, no social media. And I repeat that not to make us feel ashamed because we do have these luxuries, the internet and social media, but because if they were able to do all this, we hope inshallah that we can do this and more. Because the tools are at our fingertips. It's an amanah from Allah. He chose our time and He chose our place. It's a responsibility. And obviously the stories go on and on. These are just a few examples that have motivated me personally. I hope they will inspire you as well. Our life has a purpose. It's the prophetic mission. To proclaim La ilaha illallah in our hearts, in our minds, in our actions. To fear none but Allah. To worship Allah alone. Not to be dissuaded or afraid or misguided by any leader or any politician or any celebrity or any pressure in society or trend. We can't blindly follow what we know of Allah and the Quran and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our freedom comes from worshiping Allah. Because freedom is a buzzword. It's thrown around a lot. It's one of the words of our times, right? Freedom, freedom. Islamic view of freedom is you worship Allah, that frees you from all the shackles that can be enslaving you. You don't enslave yourself to your own desires, your lower base desires. That's something you have to fight against. You don't enslave yourself to other people just because they're going to give you a paycheck. You don't enslave yourself to different companies, to different parties, and different governments. You don't enslave yourself to anyone, or any idea, or any system, or any false ideology, or any false religion. Some people are enslaved to the brands and to the clothes and to the things that they buy and sell. They're just slaves to the marketplace. Know that when you worship Allah correctly, it frees you from everything. It's freedom through worship. And yes, it's a struggle. Life is short. We should struggle. Just yesterday we were in the hospital. One of the probably oldest members of the Houston Muslim community, 80 years old, or 80 something years old, was breathing some of his last breaths. I'm happy that I was there. It just happened. And it was beautiful. It's what I needed. At 25 years old, and I was speaking to the youth. And I'm like, I want to start this organization. I'm going to go with that company. I'm going to speak at this masjid. I'm doing this for the youth and that and this. I'm going to one day do this. I'm going to speak at Malcolm X, Muhammad. And then I was in the hospital. I'm 25 and he's 80. He's breathing his last, and his whole family is there. And that was something else. It was amazing. If you have the opportunity to visit a hospital, especially if you're young, I highly recommend it. Or a grave. It was beautiful. So we will all die one day. That's a fact. That's a reality. So until then, let us strive. Now to the parents. We live in a time with extremes. And there are two primary attitudes towards young people, towards our children, or to your kids. Two primary attitudes that parents and adults generally have. Again, they're both extreme. They're both wrong. The truth is always down the middle. Although it's a struggle. It's not easy to be balanced. These two extreme attitudes are: one, command and control. Your kids, they're your robots. They're your servants, they're your slaves. And all you do, your responsibility as a parent, is to give them directions. You say, they have to obey. That's their job. If they even think differently, then they're bad children. They're disobedient, and they're going to hell because Allah says, obey your parents. There are a lot of things wrong with this attitude. And with all due respect, I'm speaking to mostly my parents and my uncles and aunts in the community, and you were the ones who took care of me since I was a kid, and raised me up, and then I grew up in the center, grew up in the community. I mean no disrespect, but I also know, as a youth director the last few years, a lot of the struggles that you're going through with your kids. I'm going to do my best to provide value, to help you with this. This attitude is not correct. And we usually see it from the immigrant community. We see it in quote-unquote developing or third world countries around the world. And that's a big problem. It's extreme and it's not correct, and you're more likely to lose your kids or resent them, or they will resent you long-term. So if possible, do your best to be aware of it and work on it. And I know it's tough. The second extreme, and you see this and it bothers you in our community, you see this and you think, I don't want to be that, and you're correct, because it's extreme, it's wrong. how both sides are. And the other side is telling their kids, just have fun. Just do you. Just be yourself. Whatever makes you happy. Are you happy? Just do it. And these are some of the slogans of our times. These are some of the messages that we get in our times. Just, if it makes you happy, if it's you, or just do it. Right? That's Nike. Just do it. It's not. Now, both sides might be well-intentioned. Someone telling a kid, I want you to be happy, maybe they want the best for them. But Allah did not create you for that reason. The parent's role is not a friend's role. And the parent's role is not a boss as well. Or a bossy person, or a command and control. Neither of those two. Why did Allah create parents for kids? And why this wisdom of parents, kids, that Allah created the system for humanity? The role of the parents is to guide their kids. Not just to give them orders and expect to blindly follow. Although kids of course should make effort to obey their parents, but it's not blind obedience, and it's not to defend them, or to give them everything, every luxury, comfort, and think that's your role. That is not your role. Your role is to guide them, which means that you encourage them, you motivate them and inspire them, you also remind them, and when it's time you discipline them, and when it's appropriate, you criticize them or warn them, right? And also have both roles. To warn people and to give people good news. So it's balance. Once you spend enough years in the community, or you've had a role as a volunteer, and of course plenty of people that I'm learning from, my teachers, my mentors, my scholars, have spent decades in the community, so I'm not here to put myself as an expert or anything, but even in just a few hours, a few days, a few months, a few years, in a role where you're trying to bridge the gap between parents and their kids, you start seeing things, right? And you know that every kid is different, and every kid has their unique situation, and every kid and parent and family is struggling with their own things. In fact, some kids don't even have parents. That's rough. But you also start seeing trends. You start seeing that there are things that we're all going through. And there are things that parents struggle with. And they might or might not bring this to the attention of someone else, another parent, another imam, a scholar, or a youth director. I mean, there are only literally a handful of youth directors in the entire country. And it's not really a role that's recognized fully by everybody. Alhamdulillah, it's a challenge. Not everybody sees it, recognizes it, although those who don't recognize it, the need to have somebody who's there to help you with your kids, maybe bridge the gap, give them advice, and kind of go to them, visit their schools, and speak to them, and understand their language. Someone a few years older doesn't have all the life experiences, doesn't love them as much as you do, of course, but someone who is invested in this work, youth work. Those who might not recognize this role are sometimes those who are most in need of it. SubhanAllah, that's what I recognize, that's what I noticed, which is natural in a sense. But if you may allow me, I think that our community has a whole list of issues, but there are, of course, shortcuts. There are shortcuts. We don't have to spend hundreds of years to at times recreate the wheel. And we don't have to spend so many years trying to find specific solutions to every specific issue, because there are issues big and small. Ideally, the intelligent thing to do is, as a community, to try to hit things, try to tackle the issues head on, try to find the root causes, try to focus on the big things. Hopefully that makes sense. And I humbly believe that if not the issue of our times, one of the issues of our times is the relationship between the elders and the younger. Is ensuring the identity of young Muslims and make sure that they grow proud of their faith, just as you have. You may have come here from Pakistan, you may have come here from Egypt, Palestine, Jordan, Nigeria, Mali, Indonesia, wherever you came from. And I know not everybody here has come from somewhere. That's the majority of our audience, so bear with me. You might have come here from somewhere and you had your own experiences and your own challenges. And maybe some of it was economic, some of it was political, family related, language and culture and education. Struggling to understand a new system in a new place. That was your challenge. And alhamdulillah, if you're in the masjid and khutbah and you're making a decent income and you're earning a halal and spending a halal, there's a possibility that that is the A+ for your life. That Allah is happy with you 100%. And that you are rightfully our uncles and our parents and our elders and our imams and scholars. But isn't it possible that the kids have a different struggle? That some things never change. La ilaha illallah never changes. Being respectful to your parents, and then parents complain to you that their kids aren't respectful, I understand. That should never change too. You should be able to put them in any school in any country around the world, and you should live at any time, any place, and you should expect, I'm your dad, I'm your mom, you should respect me. If you're not going to obey me always, at least obey me 99% of the time. And they feel, a lot of parents feel, they disobey us 99% of the time. And that's hurtful. I agree. We're on the same page. But isn't it possible that they might be going through things that you don't understand, and in fact they feel that they're in a world that's completely different than yours, some of you recognize this. The reality is that is true. And there is no excuse, because Allah says that after believing in Allah, right, after Tawheed, or after staying away from shirk and disobeying Allah and going against Allah, number 2 comes your good treatment to your parents. An interesting point, Allah doesn't say, although we do repeat this in a lot of our halaqat and khutbahs, obedience to parents. Technically that's not correct, and allow me to explain. And hopefully don't misunderstand me, both here, younger and elder. But Allah says, bir al-walidain in the Quran. Not ta'at al-walidain and not hub al-walidain. So if I may, hub al-walidain is love of your parents. Allah doesn't say, and you've been encouraged or you've been commanded to love your parents. Why? Because kids love their parents. Even those who disobey you 99 out of 100 times, and they do all the things you told them not to do, and they never listen to you, and when they talk to your friends, they are insulting you, and you're like, if I had done 100th of that to my parents, I would have been smacked, right? Even them, they love you. So Allah doesn't, and there's very few exceptions, but generally people love their parents. Allah does not require it because it's natural. Allah does not require obedience to parents, because of course a good kid is someone who's obedient to their parents. And I'm not here to tell kids don't listen to your parents, they don't know anything. Absolutely not. Quite the opposite. But He does not take obedience to parents, because absolute, all the time, blind obedience is only for Allah and His Messenger. And that's because Allah cannot make a fault, cannot make a mistake. And He can't tell you to do something that's bad for you. And parents, nobody will have better intention towards their kids than their parents. It's a fact. No one will give them better advice, in the sense that no one has a cleaner heart towards their kids. When parents can make mistakes, because everybody makes mistakes, because they're human beings. And even when it comes to their kids, and they spend years seeing their kids grow up, it's still technically possible to give advice that doesn't hit the mark. It's 99%, but it's not 100%. Because we are not Allah and we are not His Messenger. There's a reason for all this. There's a reason I'm mentioning this. Because part of the role of youth director is to try to bridge the gap between parents and kids. And sometimes they're in 2 different worlds, and I'm like, yeah, Allah, it's not easy. I promise you it's not easy. But part of it is for kids to recognize the role of the parents, so inshallah we will give khutbahs on that, and it's fair to do so. Part of it is for parents who are the adults, and recognize that kids are like in their own world, but it's harder for them to see that there's a world outside of them. It's on their parents to see that their kids are in a world outside of theirs, and maybe change the standards a little bit, maybe be a little bit more flexible, maybe see that the priorities are, maybe see that some things never change, and they have to insist on this, but some things do. And I can give examples, and I can give you stories and cases of people I've dealt with. Maybe one that's close to home for me, and I'm sure it is an issue for many families. The idea of choosing your major in school, right? Choosing what university and what you're going to study. SubhanAllah, is it important what you do in your life? Of course, especially as a Muslim. You have one life, like we said, and everyone's going to die. So what you do, like, 30, 40, 50, 60% of your time, your job, your career, and then your education, which is really like, 2/3 of your life, and it's most of your life when you're not sleeping. Of course it's important. But is it important enough that parents and kids argue about it for years and fight about it and insult each other about it? SubhanAllah, I don't think so. The universities that we go to, University of Houston, A&M, UT, etc., the colleges around America, and Canada, Australia, this modern education system, let's say the American university system, whatever you want to call it, has about 150 different majors. You think they're all haram except for 2? Of course not. I don't mean to make jokes. I know for some people this is a serious struggle. And if it's not your family, say alhamdulillah. It's probably a different issue. This is one of the issues I saw. For some families, it's like fire in the house. It's like parents and kids don't talk for a year. It ruins the relationship maybe forever. Which is not about the major. It's a shaitan using that as an excuse. But something I hope to speak about in the future. The fact that you might come from a place where there are 2 options. Again, majors is just an example. You might have come from a world where there are 2, 3 options. Or there's one right option. It's possible to come from a place there's only one way to do things halal and to do things right that work for you and your family and your situation to make it out of the situation you're in. But then you come to a country like literally the next day you're in a country now where there's 100 halal options, maybe 1,000 halal options, I don't know. Well, usually the halal is bigger than the haram, that's a mindset difference, but we'll work on it. There's 100 halal options, and the one you picked is one of them. And your kids are into 99. Don't take it personal. It's not an insult to you. Your kids love you. I swear to Allah, I swear to God, your kids love you. Even when they don't listen to you. And remember, to calibrate, they can disobey you technically, but still have good and what I did. Because that, there is no excuse. When Allah says that you're required to have good treatment, actually listen to this, especially to the kids. Anything less than the highest or perfect good treatment to your parents, anything less, so 99% of good treatment to your parents is a major sin. Or read that. It's one of my teachers taught me. Anything less than perfect good treatment to your parents, which is none of us, even the parents here have had parents. Anything less than perfectly treating your parents well is a major sin, not a minor sin. If you're 99% with your parents, it's a major sin. So we should be making tawbah all the time and doing our best to serve them. So to the kids, and maybe you haven't heard this on Khutbah, I don't know. Maybe you haven't heard this from a young person. It's my honor to tell you this. I encourage you, and your teachers are not going to tell you this, and your friends are not going to tell you this, I encourage you to wash your parents' feet. I encourage you to clip their toenails. I encourage you to kiss their foreheads. I encourage you to serve them. Do things that your kids think is weird, your friends think is weird, and that you've never seen anybody do, maybe in this whole society. I encourage you to do this, because that love between you and your parents is gonna bring back dividends. You're gonna be happier, they're gonna be happier, you're gonna live a better life, and of course, most importantly, Allah will be pleased with you. But you can do that and still choose your major. You can choose who you want to marry, and your parents might have a different recommendation. We'll talk about that again in the future. I know it's a very touchy subject. These are touchy subjects, but inshallah, my role is to try to bridge the gaps and to see that people need to be more positive and optimistic. The youth are capable of a lot of things, but it takes a community to raise a child, and it takes a community to build real ambassadors for Islam, Muslims, to build people that are really going to change the world, inshallah, and that's our hope, and that is our dream. We'll stay optimistic. We hope the youth will rise to the occasion. Allah chose us for this time and this place with all its challenges, and Allah knows best. For us, our duty is to strive.